about a year ago, a little over a year ago, this past April, when the pandemic was really hitting a lot of us and causing a lot of us to stay at home, I took the opportunity to ask Ben Bates a question because him and Tracy Yardland were, I guess, doing a Q&A, just chatting it up with fans because there was really not much they could do either. So I asked, a simple question. And that question was about the Mecha Sally arc. And I asked, if he knew, because he had some involvement artistic-wise, and I think writing-wise, but mostly artistic-wise, if he had any idea, what the end result was, how long it was going to go and stuff. And I'll provide a video link at the end of this video for you guys to check out the initial ones that I did last year, both on camera, both of them on camera, unlike this one. And Ben Bates' initial response to me was this, and I quote, once I get some light that I can read here. But this was his initial response, and I quote. And this was a response he gave me on April 7th, 2020 at 1:42 p.m. Pacific time. And I quote, this is from Ben Bates. I had no idea. The way it was sold to me, Mecha Sally in her later form, Neo Sally, he put that in quotation marks, would be revealed as advanced Eggman robotics and a sleeper agent. The real, he capitalized the word real, Sally Acorn was in cryostasis, and the next 5-year arc would be Sonic traveling the world to find her. Now, that's surprising in itself when you hear that we would have had potentially a 5-year arc. But now, what's interesting is the response that comes afterwards. Now, before I get into those, there were responses that came a day or so later from Ben Bates and others as well. Now, I had responded again, but again, I had responded again after that, I should say. And I can't tell you what that response was because my initial Twitter account was deactivated due to, I guess, violation of terms or something. I don't really know. But basically, actually it was a tweet that was deleted by the Twitter author. Somebody had deleted the tweet to Ben. I don't know if that was me or whoever. But Ben's response, one of his first responses to a fan after responding to me with that answer was this. This is what Ben said, and I quote, I don't really know. I was just given a basic idea of the direction. Neo Sally was her form after being de-roboticized, a robot that didn't look like it was a robot. Kind of think along the lines of the season 1 episode of Saturday AM called Sonic and Sally, and you kind of get the idea. Or even think along the lines of the Princess Sally miniseries. Now, he did get a couple of responses as well, the day of the response he gave me and the day afterwards. James M., a.k.a. Crazy Gamer Historian 1999, responded, "Wait, really? My mind is exploding. OMG." And that was on April 7th. April 8th, in which Ben did the other response, was a response by Egg Paladin saying, very interesting. So if we go in order here, the first response from Ben to me, where he said he had no idea, and it was sold to him that Mecha Sally in her later form, Neo Sally, would be revealed as advanced Eggman robotics and a sleeper agent, and that the real, as he capitalized the word real, Sally Acorn was in cryostasis, and the next 5-year arc would be Sonic traveling the world to find her. The first person to respond to that, like I said, was Crazy Gamer Historian 1999, saying, "Wait, really? My mind is exploding, OMG." And then, like I said, Ben responded the day after to another tweet, either by myself or somebody else, and he said that he didn't really know. He was just given a basic idea of the direction, that Neo Sally was her form after being de-roboticized, a robot that didn't look like a robot. Basically, as I said, look along the lines of Sonic Saturday AM episode season 1, Sonic and Sally, as well as the Princess Sally miniseries. Now, with those tweets out of the way, basically a couple of months later, Ian Flynn decided to respond, but he responded because someone had tagged him in a response to Ben Bates. And that person was Reaver Passion-Fried at Trent Dalton 3. And this was Trent Dalton 3's response to what Ben had to say, and I quote, "This certainly puts a whole new spin on things. Was this what Ian Flynn was originally planning before the shoehorn SGW, the Sonic Genesis Wave, plot device changed all that? But a 5-year arc? Not sure how fans would withstand something that ludicrously dragged out." So what he's saying is that, he's kind of, surprised at this revelation, and it certainly changes the perspective of how they initially thought the Mecha Sally storyline was going to go. But then Ian Flynn, this is where he comes in, responded because he was tagged by Reverend Passion-Fried at Trent Dalton 3. This is what Ian Flynn said in response on July 28th. This was all on July 28th, 3 days after my birthday. This is what he responded, and I quote, "I have no idea where Ben got that information. This isn't remotely what I had planned. Sally would have been restored at the end of the King Nagas arc around," and he had to correct the number here because he initially said issue 200, but then he realized it was issue 200 was when Eggman was defeated the first time. But this is what he said, that Sally would have been restored at the end of the King Nagas arc around number 250. Or whatever the milestone was. It's been a while, and 2 reboots, and cut him some slack. That's what he said. Now, Crazy Gamer Historian in 1999 kind of responded to him saying, "It's fine, buddy, not to worry." And then someone on June 2nd, way before all of this, responded, and this is being Space Fox at Space Fox SFW. They responded, 5 years? Or are we talking in comic time? And I should have put that before these, but anyway, it kind of resides in there because it comes after the July responses, which is a surprise. I'm thinking, wait a minute, July, and now there's a June a response from June, whatever. But but anyway, though, that's basically in whole Ian Flynn's response to what I had initially asked Ben Bates, and I got to give credit to Alex Hedgehog for linking me back to that, because yes, I had initially done videos on that 2 years ago. In fact, I even did some other videos where Ben Bates revealed some information prior to that, 6 years prior to that. I had done some other videos as well. And what's interesting about this is we finally, I guess, get some kind of confirmation, if you will, that the initial plan for Sally's restoration was number 250. Now, we had heard rumors that it was going to be like 275 or 300, but I think from what I'm gathering, from what I'm remembering, 300 was supposed to, between 275 and 300 were originally planned to be when the Freedom Fighters would be brought back. In other words, we would have another near 2-year arc or 2.5-year arc to get the characters back together, get the team back together, rebuild them again, and basically at the end show the world, show the newer fans why the Freedom Fighters were such a big deal, or are such a big deal to a lot of fans, long time and new. But again, like I said, what puts that into perspective as that being the direction they could have been heading in initially is the fact that 250 was the issue in which Ian Flynn was planning to restore Sally back to normal. Now, he did say that whatever milestone issue it would have been, and that had been so long and 2 reboots and all that, and that we need to cut him some slack. I can understand that. I can, believe it or not, I can understand Ian Flynn saying that because, he's a freelance writer. He doesn't just work on comics. He also works in television. And, he's got a lot on his plate. He's got a lot of stories running through his mind from various different franchises. So I can understand and respect that if he can't really recall, unless he looks through his notes on his computer or wherever he files his notes away, basically what the initial plan was. Now, Ian Flynn, of course, did the Lost Hedgehog Tales, which initially was going to be his way of letting us fans know exactly what was originally planned. Now, he has kind of stopped doing that for a while because he's had so much on his plate that I'm kind of surprised he didn't hire somebody to take over and just give them the notes to type in and say, here, tell them, show them this, let them know about this. And thus he could focus on other stuff as well. But yeah, apparently, just from this initial Q&A I had with Ben Bates, it seems that basically Ian Flynn was planning for 250 to be when Sally would be restored. And you know what's ironic about that? And somewhat karmatic about it? Karmaric about it? You know what's so ironic and karmaric about it? By the time Archie Sonic Online did their interpretation of 250, Sally was already restored, and they were using that issue to help her get settled back in to her lifestyle and get the support from her friends after going through what she did. So yeah, it's kind of ironic and karmaric that Ian Flynn says official-wise 250 was going to be the issue, and by the time the fan continuation Archie Sonic Online got to their 250, she was already restored. But yeah, it's kind of surprising that it takes something from what I did, not stroking my own ego here. It's just ironic and surprising that it takes something that I asked Ben Bates just to, about, when it comes to this arc, just to finally get an answer, a potential answer as to when Sally would be restored. Now, I know some of you are asking, well, didn't Ian Flynn block you on Twitter? Yeah, he did. Just like he blocked me from the Bumble King forums long ago, he blocked me on Twitter. But here's the thing. The reason I can't read some of the questions that I went back and forth on with Ben about a year ago is because the Twitter account I used then has been deactivated, by Twitter itself due to violation of terms or something. So now I have a new Twitter account, and by having a new Twitter account, I'm able to finally see some of the tweets by Ian Flynn. Yeah, I can see those tweets by Ian Flynn. Now, no, I'm not going to, follow him or anything, because I know the instant I follow him, I'll be blocked. So I'm not going to follow him. But I am going to say that if anything Ian Flynn-wise comes up when it comes to Sonic is talked about, I will try to look it up on Twitter to see if maybe it's there. Or to kind of report on it, if you will, give my thoughts on it if I feel like it. But yeah, 250. Number 250, officially, would have been the issue. Would have been the issue. It's hard to believe. But that's really all I can say, guys. I'll provide a link, the same link that Alex provided to me in the description. You guys can check it out yourself. But yeah, 250 would have been the issue. And it's all thanks believe it or not, to me just asking a question and Ben Bates giving an answer. And look, I understand that there's sometimes miscommunication, but Ben Bates worked on the book along with Ian, artistic-wise. And artists always are given ideas of how things are potentially going to go so they can get ready to put them to paper. And if Ben Bates is given that idea of what was planned originally, then obviously Ian Flynn coming out and saying that he doesn't know where Ben's getting his information from probably doesn't like the idea that some of the truth has gotten out before he can, reveal it. So anyway, though, guys, that's all I'm going to really say on it. Let me know what your thoughts are down below. Comment if you like. Let me know what your thoughts are on the live chat during the premiere. But how do you feel about this revelation, if you will? Comment if you like. Again, in the comment section as well in the live chat during the premiere. Link will be provided in the description box. And I am out. Y'all have a good day. Stay cool. Get vaccinated if you can. Peace.